So when I got to the ancestry portion, I sort of wanted to start with, where I was, my deep ancestry history, where I originated from. And it showed that I was around, not surprisingly, 20% from the British islands, and then the rest were from some unidentified European countries. But about 1% was from Sardinia, a little island off of Italy, which I find really fascinating.
Well, I want to know, like, when you got the results back, when 23andMe, I think they send you an email saying your results are ready. What were you feeling as you, when you got the results, the notification, and then what were you actually feeling in the process?
I was feeling very overwhelmed because I knew that there was a potential for me to find out from the relative finder section, my biological parents or biological siblings or aunts or any relatives, and information that I never had because, as you know, my adoption was closed and they didn't release any of that information, and I felt always that I had reached a dead end. But this was a potential, it could potentially further my finding my biological or birth parents. So I was very anxious, very overwhelmed, very nervous, clicking through everything. I even tried to go through all the other parts of 23andMe before I got to that, just so I could sort of, calm myself down. And then I clicked on the relative finder.
Okay, so you opted into the relative finder and you clicked on it. What did you see?
Well, I saw a whole host of third to fourth cousins. Quite a few from both England and Eastern North Carolina, which was where I was born and raised. The closest, though, I did find one second cousin. It didn't come up at first. After about a week of having the original results, evidently this person opted in, or 23andMe was able to match our DNA a little bit better, and this person showed up. And it basically said that they were male and that they were from North Carolina, and they shared about 0.97% of the DNA that I had. And then in the advanced tools section of 23andMe, you can look at your actual chromosome pattern and see what bands of chromosomes match. And there were quite a few bands, which led me to believe that, we had somewhat close, DNA lineage.
Wow. So did you reach out to this person?
I did. I was sort of debating whether I would, contact them, sort of open up the can of worms or the Pandora's box and sort of get this new person involved in my life. And I reached out, and basically I said my name, my age, where I was from, and that I was adopted, and that I would love to know more about their background. And after about 3 days, an email was sent to me from this person who gave me his name, how old he was, and that he was from Eastern North Carolina. And he gave me a bunch of surnames, hypothesizing his 4 grandparents' last names, which is a very common name in the community I was born and raised in.
So, this sounds like, you connected with somebody who is, who the surnames, the family names you're familiar with.
I know. It felt like a bit of a soap opera that I was sort of becoming a part of. I called my adopted real parents. I called them and, told them I was participating in this course as well as participating in 23andMe, and they were not hesitant. They were okay with it. And when I told them the list of names, my mother pulled out all the phone books from Eastern North Carolina, because she collects those evidently, and was trying to find this certain name that could be in the county where she knew that all 3 of the other names were in, and she was calling my aunt to see if she knew this person. And so it's just started this sort of domino thing where everybody's trying to be Nancy Drew or the Hardy Boys to try to figure out who this cousin is. I'm still debating about where to take this, how involved I should get with this person. I don't know how receptive this person will be, and it's the second cousin, which isn't an aunt or an uncle. It's, still a little far out. And so for me to say I'm adopted, do you know anybody that you may be related to who had a child put up for adoption, the likelihood of that is still low. However, I am hopeful that, maybe they do know. I'm still debating about how to pursue this.
So overall, how would you describe your emotions? Excited, nervous, happy, sad?
My emotions about this process are varied. I'm excited and happy for the most part, and hopeful. I think those describe how I'm feeling about this right now.
Would you recommend this for other people who are adopted and are interested? Do you think that it has the ability to fill gaps in their knowledge, or do you think that it's a positive experience that you recommend to other people?
I think it depends on the person. I think that it depends on where the person is and how and their identity is being adopted. If they're interested and curious, I think this is a perfectly legitimate avenue to pursue. I think that everyone who does pursue this as an avenue for trying to find biological relatives should enter into it with a mindset that they may not find anything, or they might find very distant cousins, because this is all dependent on other people opting to send their DNA into the company. With that said, I think that as genetics is coming to the forefront of our everyday lives and in our health, more and more people are going to opt to send their DNA in to be sequenced and to be analyzed and to be compared with other individuals. So I think that this is a very hopeful enterprise for adopted individuals.